So welcome, everybody. I am going to go ahead and get started. That way we can end on time. I'm hoping we can end around 5 o'clock, 8 o'clock for those of you on the East Coast. That way you're not here too late. My name is Sandra Thompson. I'm with the Junior League of Orange County, California. And I am leading up the effort in the training collaborative this year, and realized, I think, after we got started that last year I did 3 trainings, training the trainer presentations. I think we could collapse them into 2. And so I decided to do that in July and August this year, since we had, I think, some leagues that were just getting started planning their training events. I didn't want July and August to be dark months. And I also thought this might be a really nice opportunity because a lot of our training teams are new leaders. And so this could be something that they really need. And if you're in a small league, if you're a new leader, it can be hard to find this training. So I thought this might help. I'm going to share my slides. And let's see. Okay. I'm hoping you all can see that.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Put that up at the top. Okay, so got a little bit of an agenda. I mean, we wouldn't be junior leaguers if we didn't have an agenda. So just want to give you a map of what we're looking at tonight. I'm going to obviously talk about our mission a little bit. We're going to review your membership demographics as we walk through kind of a map of how you are looking to plan and plan an engaging training opportunity, whether it's for the collaborative, your league, or both. We're going to talk about how you might do some brainstorming. We're going to look at surveys and survey results. We're going to look at our own schedule for the training collaborative and how you might go about picking a topic. And hopefully I can give you some seeds for thought and seeds to kind of get you started on this progress. And then we're going to talk a little bit about picking a date and a time. I'm going to go through what our August meeting and the goals of that meeting are going to look like, and then we'll finish up with any questions. And again, since we're recording this, I'll be sending it out to everyone who was here and also everyone in the training collaborative on Monday with a general email. So our junior league mission, I always feel like as part of trainings, and if you're doing trainings in your own league, and if you're doing really anything, you should be centering on the mission, because my background is in branding. I'm an intellectual property attorney, so I do trademark work as part of my work. And one of the things I always tell my clients is you got to keep saying it over and over and over and over again so that customers get it and people get it. Well, for us, our members are essentially the customers. Our members are our clients. And so it's really important that we keep talking about the mission, putting it out there so that everyone knows it and everyone can basically recite it if they need to. So we're organizations of women whose mission is to advance women's leadership skills for meaningful community impact through volunteer action, collaboration, and training. And I put some things in red here: women's leadership skills. We want to advance those specifically for meaningful community impact, although I think our members get that, can take those leadership skills and translate them in a lot of things. And we want to do it through volunteer action, collaboration, and training. So we are the Junior League Training Collaborative. So that's kind of right there in our mission. Our purpose is exclusively educational and charitable. We reach out to women of all races, religions, and national origins who demonstrate an interest in and commitment to volunteerism. So what I want to do is in the chat, I don't necessarily want to go around the room because we have a little bit of a big group, but in the chat, I would love for you guys to put your, so your league is next to your name. Drop your 2024-2025 placement in there, and then just very quickly one non-league thing that you enjoy. And while you do that, I will say that my 2024-2025 placement is as the training collaborative lead for our league. And one thing that I enjoy, one non-league activity that I enjoy is knitting. Generally, anywhere I go, I've got a bag and there's something that I'm working on in that bag. So no matter where I go, car, grocery store, junior league event, wherever, you never know when you're going to get delayed. And so to have something like that with me that I can work on if I need to is fantastic. So yeah, drop those in there. That way everybody can see them. Oh, nice. Looks like everybody likes to be outdoors with or without your dogs. I love that.
This is Waylon Harder Leahy. I'm driving, stuck in traffic in the Bay Area.
Understood.
I'm with the Junior League of the Woodlands in Texas, but I'm coming back from camping, and traffic is traffic. So I'm the training chair this year, so I'm not going to type. I also have 2 broken fingers courtesy of Hurricane Beryl. So also typing is a challenge.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Yeah. So I'll mute myself again, but I'm really looking forward to this training.
What do you like to do? What do you like to do in your non-junior league time?
Camping. I'm coming back from a week of camping at New Brighton State Beach outside of Santa Cruz.
Love it. Wonderful.
Yeah. So
fantastic. Well, thank you, Waylon. Drive carefully. And we're going to record this, so if you want to go back and watch it later, you can. All right. I am really happy to see everybody's doing training and development. I think that's neat. And you're in the right place, because I feel like this is something, again, that what I get out of meeting the leaders who are in the training collaborative, the first contact that we have is with the president, and that's fantastic. And our league presidents are amazing, and they spend a lot of time doing a lot of things. But our training chairs and our VPs of training are usually kind of our newer leaders. And so sometimes it can be really hard, I think, to get that training, the training that you need to put on good trainings. So we're going to try to do a little bit of that tonight. And hopefully I'll have some things that I can share. I was training VP for a year. And then I started the training collaborative when I was president-elect of the Junior League of Orange County, and got it going when I was president-elect. So I've been doing training for a while, and honestly, I think that, as I've said before, this is one of the reasons our leagues exist, is training. Women come to us to get something that I just don't think that they can get in any other organization. And the kind of training that we're equipped to offer them is special. And I think we should lean in on that and take that very seriously. And so the training collaborative gives us the opportunity to not only take advantage of other leagues within the collaborative and the trainers that they bring and the content that they bring, but it also gives us a really great opportunity to kind of network and learn from other women and learn from other leagues and get introductions to speakers and topics that we would have never thought of and never had that if we had just done it on our own. So it just makes everybody's job, I think, a little bit easier. So member different demographics. I think this is a really important place to start when you start your training journey as to what you're looking at, because we can sit in a room and talk about what, like, trainings we would like to put on, for example. But if your members aren't demographically within the space to kind of want that training, then you're going through all that work for not a lot of payoff with the women attending. So what you want to do is look at your membership. How does your membership break down? Is it a lot of new members, a lot of active members? I'm assuming, although I don't want to assume, but most of our leagues have a lot of sustaining members, women who are past 7 years in the league and who are, if everybody can mute themselves, I can't mute you. let's see. Stop share. I'm going to mute all. Yes. Okay. And one thing, if you want to come off mute and ask me a question, please do. I'm here for it. You do not have to wait until the end. Can stop and get right back into this person. So don't feel like you have to wait until the end if you've got something. So, so how does your membership break down? Because if you have a lot of new members, a lot of provisional members, and a lot of sustaining members, then you might not necessarily need a particular training type that you're thinking about putting out there into the world. So it's really important to understand that. And the way you do that is you can go on Member Essentials and you can basically pull up the directory and you can go through and look at your members, because it'll tell you next to each of their names and addresses, which is honestly a wealth of information, whether they're provisional new member, active member, or sustaining member. And then you can also, for that matter, do a heat map, find out where women live, where they work, all within your member directory. So you don't even need to have another leader pull that information from you. You can just go into your member directory and find that at Member Essentials. So what are the age groups in your membership? If you have women who are, a lot of women who are over 60 and a lot of women who are in their 30s, you might say, hey, we'd like to have these two groups work together. What if we do a training on talking to women throughout the different generations? How do we connect and engage our 60 somethings with our 30 somethings? And how do we show these two groups of women that they can talk to one another, they can work together? What are some trainings that would really bring them together? The other thing you can look at, and I can talk about this later, but if you have kind of this nice, gap in age, you could do some trainings on financial issues for women, because women over 60 have financial issues, women in their 30s have financial issues, legal issues for women. We have one league that's going to be doing that. I think it's the Junior League of Puerto Rico is going to be doing that in later in this year. And so, you've got to look at kind of what your membership is to kind of determine, all right, what do we think what are trainings that make sense for women in these age groups? And what are the training needs of your leaders? And what are the training needs of your Molly members? So your Molly members are women who are not leaders, and maybe they don't want to be leaders. So maybe how to become a leader isn't going to be something that they're interested in. Maybe the leaders in your league need board training or need training on how to have a meeting, how to plan a meeting, how to bring a team together, how to make a team work better. Honestly, I think everyone needs to know that, whether you're in the junior league as a leader or whether you're at work or whether you're somewhere else or at home, you got to learn how to bring people together. So look at the training needs of your leaders and look at the training needs of your Molly members, like put that information out there. Who are your members? Do you have any experts? This is really important. So you may have women in your league who are experts in particular areas and who are just chomping at the bit to come talk to your members about financial planning, legal issues, how to make a team work, how to have a meeting, how to have a board meeting, how to do a retreat. All of these things, you probably have women in your league right now who could do that work for you and who would be happy to do it. You just need to find them and reach out to them and say, hey, we'd love to have you come speak to the members about this. So looking at your member demographics, these are things that you really need to know before you start mapping out your training year and before you start saying, hey, this is a training that I think would be engaging and something that women would want to go to. So how do we go about getting that information? I already told you one way is to go to Member Essentials and to look at, to look through your directory. And I'm guessing you're going to get some information there on age groups and how your members break down. The other thing, and I'm going to skip ahead, I'm going to go back to brainstorming, but surveys and survey results. This, I think, goes hand in hand with you figuring out what your member demographics are. Should you do a survey? How and how often? Does your leadership team do an annual survey? And how you can set this up in Google Suite. So first question you need to ask your leadership team, and maybe this is your management team, your executive vice president, your membership membership engagement chair or VP, you need to reach out to them and say, do we do an annual survey? If we do an annual survey, what information did we get last year? Is there anything related to demographics, which I'm pretty sure there are? And is there any way for me to add a question this year? Like, for example, a good question would be, what would you like to see us have a training on? And would you like to be a trainer for the Junior League of Orange County or the Junior League of whatever? So that's how you get at this, this information about what are the training needs of your leaders, what are the training needs of your Molly members, who are your members, and do you have any experts? This type of a survey is something that you don't want to over survey your members, but there are really good reasons to do a survey. If your league does not do an annual survey, maybe you encourage them to do one for this very reason. Hey, we need to know who our members are. We need to know if any of them have any skills that maybe they want to share that we need to know about. And we need to know what the training needs are of our members and our leaders before we even go down this journey of planning trainings. So for example, a couple of years ago, it was actually probably 3 or 4 years ago, we did a DEI task force in our league. And one of the things we did was we surveyed our members about how they looked at diversity, equity, and inclusion. And what we wanted to do was see what our leaders thought versus what our non-leader Molly members thought. And so we put together 2 different surveys because we wanted to see, are our leaders DEI proficient, and are they speaking the language? Are they doing the work? Do they understand what these things are? And how do our leaders differ from our members as a whole? So we want to bring everyone up to one level. How do we do that? And we want to make sure our leaders are right up there with a lot of the terms that we're going to be using, a lot of the concepts we want them to understand. And so we did 2 different surveys. We sent one out to the leaders and one out to all non-leaders. And the information we got back was fascinating. And so in that respect, I would say, if you're looking at the training needs of your leaders, your board, your executive management team, the chairs are probably going to say, hey, I want to learn how to bring a team together. I want to know how to run an effective meeting. I want to know how to have a difficult conversation, whereas your Molly members may say, I really want to learn how to be a leader. Like, how do I take that first step? I really want to learn I also want to learn how to bring a team together and make them cohesive. But I'm not a leader right now, so I don't need to learn how to run an effective meeting. Well, maybe they do. Maybe they work in a situation where they want to learn that information. So understanding what your members are looking for is really important. So brainstorming. This is kind of that next step while you're waiting to get that information out. It's okay to do some brainstorming, and I would actually encourage it. So do you have a training team? If you're lucky enough to have a training team, get those women together and do some of this. But a lot of our leagues are smaller leagues and they don't have a training team. They have a training lead or a training chair, and that's it. So maybe if you don't have a training team or you don't have members that are in a pool that work with training, then reach out to maybe 5 or 6 women in your league who are of different kind of ages and in different groups, like maybe get a new member, an active member, a sustaining member, a leader, and maybe you. And just say, hey, I'd love to jump on a Zoom, or I'd love to get in the room together, or go out and grab lunch or coffee and just see if we can brainstorm out some trainings that we'd all like to see. Get a group of women that are from all different places. Bring in some members together to brainstorm ideas, and don't stick to a theme. Toss out everything, be creative, write it all down. You do not know what you don't know until you start brainstorming. And then women start getting creative. They say, oh, that's a great idea. What if we did this? And what if we did that? And what if we added this to that? It can be really inspiring for the group. It can make you feel like, man, we're really doing something. This is amazing. I'll tell you, I did something like that a couple of years ago, and while we haven't been able to implement it yet, it's still a really good idea. We wanted to do a 4-part training series on legal and financial issues for women. And we wanted to do it in a way that we looked at every generation of women in our league, because women in their 30s need to think about, should I set up a 401k? How do I do that? How do I contribute from work? What if I'm self-employed? Should I have a prenup if if I've got my own job and I've got my own money and I'm getting married? What if I get, those kind of legal and financial issues? And then you've got women in their 60s who are saying, okay, my husband has passed away. Now what do I do? I'm trying to sell my home. Should I, are there like, who do I need to talk to go through these issues? And some of that training is just, who do you need to talk to? And then for the women in the middle, people like me who have parents that are aging and kids who are, growing up, you need to look at, all right, how do I need to have a conversation with my aging parents or with my kids about, so for example, how do I reach out to my parents and say, hey, mom and dad, what do you have in the way of a trust? What do you have in the way of a will? What's your bank account number? Where can I find all this if something happens to you? And then with your kids, talking to them about where your things are. Like, here's my trust, here's my will, here's my healthcare directive, here's this, here's that. These aren't easy conversations. And a lot of people think I don't need to have these conversations yet. I'm only 50 years old. I've got plenty of life to live. Well, you don't. So, structuring something like that, we did a couple of these for the Junior League of Orange County. We did one on legal issues and one on financial issues, and they were extremely popular. We had women that we hadn't seen in years coming to them, and then we had them bringing friends. And so, getting creative and talking about these things and brainstorming is an excellent way to kind of figure out, it gets you out of a training rut and puts you into a group of women who can bounce ideas. So brainstorming, I think, can be really effective for this type of thing. So going back to the surveys, should you do a survey? All right, women do not like to be over surveyed. So I get that. Everybody should get that. What we do in our league is we do an annual survey, and then we do these little mini surveys after our general meetings, our general membership meetings, after our voting meeting. We have a QR code that we put up on the screen for women who are at the meeting and for women who are online. And we just ask them to go through and do this little mini survey after each of our meetings and trainings. And it's just like 2 or 3 questions. Super simple. What did you get out of it? Would you recommend this to a friend? What was one takeaway that you got? And this information can be really powerful. And you're not sending them something that's going to take them 10 minutes. It takes them like 3 minutes and they're done. How and how often? You can use Google Suite for this quite effectively, set up in forms and set up a survey, and I can show you that. And does your leadership team do an annual survey? Again, you want to reach out to your leadership team and say, do we do an annual survey? If we do, what are the questions? And is there an opportunity for the training team to add 1 or 2 questions to the next annual survey? That's how you want to frame it. So I'm going to go over to and see if I can do this. I'm going to share my screen with, let's see, I'm going to go back to my Google workspace here. Let's see. Well, I'll try to show you the form at the end that I can use for that. All right. So I'm going to go through some survey results that we got from the last 2 years of the Training Collaborative. So I said 2023, 2024 is actually 2022, 2024. We sent out surveys after most training opportunities. And as you start to do your training for the Training Collaborative, I'll put together a survey. We have a basic survey that we use where all the questions are the same. And you have an opportunity to add 1 or 2 questions to the survey if you want to. But the real goal is we want to keep the first set of questions the same for each training so that we're getting the same information. We want to make sure we're not asking the question differently of one group than another group, or that we've added questions for one and we don't have them from the other, because there's no good way to compare that across training opportunities if you're asking different questions. But what we always tell the leagues who are doing these trainings is, if you want me to put 1 or 2 questions onto the end of your survey, I'm happy to do it. That's specific to that training opportunity. So what did I learn from the last 2 years of these surveys? First of all, women overwhelmingly liked and loved the training opportunities. I had only 1 training out of probably about 25 over the last 2 years where one woman said, I didn't get a lot out of it. The content was a little different than what I expected. But overall, women overwhelmingly like these training opportunities. So you're coming to the table with women who are enthusiastic to come to new training opportunities, are starting to get that the brand is putting out good training opportunities for them to come to. So women are starting to say, you know what, it's a training collaborative training. I've enjoyed the ones that I've gone to before. I see no reason why I won't enjoy this one. I'm going to come to a new one. Okay, that's great. Women would recommend these opportunities to others. So everyone who's filled out this survey, almost to a woman, has said, I will recommend this training opportunity to others. So what I look for here is there's significant opportunity for recruitment and outreach. If you recommend these training opportunities for others, then your league should consider doing an Ask a Friend, where you as a league member can invite someone to come to a training collaborative training who isn't in the league that you're in right now, and encourage her to join. Show her the power of what we can do as junior leaguers, especially when we all work together, because when we all work together, we do amazing things. Women said overall the content was meaningful. They wish they had had it earlier in their leadership journey. These are both really good comments because women are enjoying the content, they're getting a lot out of it, and they're saying, do these things. I'm a president-elect right now. I wish I'd had this training when I was a Molly member looking to be whether to be a leader or not, or a training lead or a community lead, or, I'm just getting started my leadership journey. I wish I'd had these trainings then. So think about the women who are coming to these things. These training opportunities are for all of our members. They're not just for women who have been in the league for a long time, senior leaders, women who have had leadership positions over a long time. You are getting to put these training opportunities in front of women who not only want to come, are interested in the content, but maybe they're thinking about leadership, new to leadership, and they just need to be pushed. They just need to realize that the junior league is a safe place to be a leader. And that's what we want to give them. And what the other thing we find is women want to make sure the description matches the information. So as you're planning your training opportunities, whether you're doing it for your league or whether you're doing it for the collaborative or both, you really want to make sure that the description and the title is going to match the information. And so this is something that when you start talking to your speaker or to your panel or to your moderator, you really want to make sure that you're understanding what they are bringing to the table so that you can adequately convey to the women who are thinking about attending the training, this is what we're going to be training on. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to jump in. I can't see everybody on here, but if you come off mute and ask me a question, I'm fine with that. So this is the first group of what women want. So we have on the survey, is there anything that you would like to see the training collaborative cover? And I love this question because we got so much great information. This is what you can use right now. If you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do for the training collaborative. I don't know what to do. Here are, I don't know what, 15, 12. These are all topics women want. Managing accountability with volunteers. That was multiple women over multiple things said they wanted that. Energizing members and addressing burnout. Again, a lot of women said that. practical tips and unconventional information, drilling down on a topic. So what we did for the Google 101 in June, I got a lot of women who responded and said, I love the practical tips. I love the takeaways. I love the things I can do. I love it that it wasn't 30,000 foot, that you drilled down on that topic. Nonprofit board structure, time management, social media management and training. So social media management and training, there are trainers all over the country who do this kind of work. How do you manage your social media? How do you make it effective? How do you communicate in a way that's efficient and engaging and gets your message out there for your event? There are all kinds of women who do this. We had a trainer last year that I thought was really effective in it, and I don't know if she will come back. But if you're looking for a trainer, I could probably reach out to her again and see if she would do something like that again this year. Training and engaging members of different generations, especially sustaining members. So this was a huge issue, something that a lot of women wanted us to do. And we did, which I'm still trying to get the Junior League of San Jose to do this again. They did a training on talking to each generation, like what each generation, how they operate. Like if you're Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, boomers, greatest generation, like if you are a boomer and you are talking to a millennial, these are the things that boomers find important. These are the things that millennials find important. And so that training, women came away from that. They're still talking about it 2 years later, how good that training was. We're trying to get the Junior League of San Jose to do it again. But it was so good. And honestly, it really opened my eyes because I'm Gen Z or Gen X. The president-elect behind me is a millennial. And after that training, it helped me understand her and what her goals were and how she thought about the world. And it helped her better understand who I am and what my goals are and how I manage my time and how I look at the world. It was invaluable. How to have difficult conversations. This is a huge issue. A lot of women ask for this. If you're a chair of a team and you've got to call somebody and say, hey, what are you doing? I haven't seen you for a long time. Or if there's a conflict, or you have to have that difficult conversation. A lot of us will have a tendency to just be like, putting it off. I'm going to put it off. I'm going to put it off. I don't know how to do it. This is such a fantastic training, and I could see us as a training collaborative doing a couple of these. How to build and engage teams. We're doing that in September. I feel like we could also do it again in April and May because teams are just starting to be put together then as well. How to lead virtual or hybrid team structure. So let's say you're virtual, or let's say you've got some people in the room and some people online. How do you lead that in a way that's engaging and good for all of the people on the call in the room? How do you transition from junior league to a community board or a leadership position? We did actually did a panel on this 2 Decembers ago with women who all 3 of them had been in the junior league, and they had left they were still in the junior league, but they had taken the skills that they had learned and gone out, and 2 of them had started nonprofits of their own, pretty significant ones, using those junior league skills. And so they came back to talk to us about what they did to kind of make that transition. And so ultimately, we as junior leagues, we love the women who are with us for life. We want junior leaguers for life, but we also want women to come get the skills and the leadership that they need, the leadership skills that they need, and then go somewhere else and do good and work with community partners and work out in the world and take those junior league skills and translate them out. That's really what we're trying to do. Meaningful community impact is what our advancing women's leadership skills is right there in our mission. So how do you do that? How do you make that transition? How to start your leadership journey and build a leadership pipeline. A lot of us, this goes to the burnout question, because a lot of us are the same leaders who were leaders 5 years ago, who were leaders 10 years ago, and we'll be leaders 5 years from now. I think that's great. We need new leaders so that we don't all get burned out and step away from junior league. We want our women to be engaged. We want them to be happy they're in the league. We want them to be out in the world talking about how amazing the junior league is. And they can't do that if they're burned out. And then building community relationships and partnerships. Speaking for my own league, we had a list of community partners, people in the community who said, if you need us to do something for you, Junior League of Orange County, we will do something with you. That list is 10 years old, and we still don't know how to use it effectively. I want to know how to use that effectively. How do we build those community relationships? How do we build those partnerships? And how do we use that information, leverage that information to continue these relationships and to make new partnerships? So all of these things right here are what women who've come to training collaborative training opportunities have said they want to see us talk about. So if for some reason you are still looking for a topic, all of these topics are right out there for the taking. So we also ask women what they want to work on from a standpoint of the name just completely escaped me. What do they want to work on with respect to our AJLI competencies thing, our AJLI competencies? And we had them check boxes, and I've pulled the 6. Communication is no longer a part of the competencies, but we've added it on and taken it off. But I still think it's important to put it there. So critical thinking and decision-making was the top thing that women want to work on with respect to the competencies. Leadership, how to be a better leader, how to be a more effective leader, how to basically your overall leadership engagement and perspective. Initiative, resourcefulness, and accountability. This is one of my favorite competencies, because I feel like being able to take initiative, be resourceful, be accountable, that's really kind of almost the secret sauce of Junior League, is that we look out into the world, we see something that needs work, or we see a gap, and we think we need to fill that gap. We need to do something. And so we take initiative, we use resources, we're resourceful. We might do it with no budget, with little budget, with few volunteers. And then in the end of the day, it's that accountability piece that's really important. Like, how are we accountable to our league, to our members, to our community? Diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and accessibility. Every single survey, women say they want to work on this. And I think it's important. Every aspect of this is important, but we need to look in our leagues as we're just now starting to really come out of COVID. We're bringing new women in who want to re-engage with the league or engage with the league for the first time. And that's amazing. But we got to have some inclusion. We got to talk about how we include women and how we make them feel included, how we make them feel as if they belong in the league. How do we make it accessible for them? How do we have a diverse league? How do we have an equitable league? All of those things help women kind of filter those things out into their work with the community. So I think this is really important. And the women we survey say they want to work on this. Strategic perspective. Again, really important. We have a lot of leaders in our leagues who are working on strategic plans, but we also have women who just want to work on their strategic perspective. They want to think more strategically about things. They want to plan things out a little bit more, whether it's at work, at home, in the league, with another community organization. Strategic perspective is one of the things that is high up on the list. And then communication. Honestly, communication is something that we all work on all the time. But the thing I love about the Junior League is it gives each of us an ability to get up in front of our membership and talk and teach and ask questions. And the more you do that, the better you get at it. The easier it is for you, the better you get at it. And honestly, tell me what aspect of your life could not benefit from you being a better communicator. Like every aspect, I think. I'm a lawyer, so I live by communication, but frankly, I think anyone who's out there working on the communication skills is is doing something good for themselves and for their community. So any opportunity that we have to work on our communication skills, I think is really important. So the way that we do that is by having trainings on storytelling, how to tell your story. We're doing an ethical storytelling training in September that I think is going to be fantastic. And this is about how we tell stories in a way that honors, lifts up our community without microaggressions, without undermining the community that we're serving. Communication is really important. So I really want to kind of lift that up and put that out there. That is the September training that we're doing. And we also want to put the storytelling back out there. So honestly, I think if we have leaders on this call and presidents on this call, you want your members to be able to get in the elevator with somebody and on the ride to that floor, whatever that is, 60 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever that is, if they say, tell me about the junior league, you want the women in the league, you want them to be able to say, let me tell you about the junior league. And do that in 60 seconds, do that in 120 seconds, do that with your community partners. You want them to be able to tell that story in a way that honors the community, honors the league, and gets people excited. How's that bad? I mean, it's great for fundraising, it's great for recruitment, it's great for outreach, it's great for everything. So that communication piece, I think, is really important. So I want to go through some potential topics and tell you a little bit about what we're doing and where I think we have some holes. So this is for the collaborative. So in September, we're looking at team building, project management. We're going to have a leadership book club. Many of you got the email. We're doing the Brene Brown Dare to Lead. I have a league that is coordinating that right now. Looks like we're going to be doing that in September. So I got my Dare to Lead copy upstairs. I think I might even have an extra copy if anybody wants one. We all have it. It's in all of our libraries. Let's read it and let's learn from it. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Storytelling, again, I cannot tell you enough how storytelling is so impactful for our league and just us in general. Being able to tell your own story helps you if you're negotiating your salary, if you're trying to get a job, if you're trying to tell someone about the junior league, whatever, storytelling is important. And junior league basics. This goes back to what we did with Google 101, Google Workspace. We'd love to have a training on member essentials. We'd love to have, yes, Simone, I will send that to you. We'd love to have a training on things within the junior league world that you feel like we need to know better, whatever that looks like. October's really a time for things like project management, fundraising, building a leadership pipeline, inclusiveness, and again, junior league basics. So building a leadership pipeline, I think, is really good to start in October, because in October and November is when we start as leagues looking at opening up applications for next year's leaders, because nominating will start putting out their application. And so what you've got to do in September and October is you've got to lay the groundwork with women who may not have even thought about leadership and say, hey, have you thought about leadership? And if they say no, say, well, you ought to, and this is why. How do we build that leadership pipeline? I told a story a couple of weeks ago when somebody asked on Facebook within one of our junior league groups, you know, what trainings do you do to inspire women to become leaders? I was like, well, just call them on the phone or text them. Don't have a training. There are women out there who are never going to come to that training who should be leaders. And all you need to do is reach out to them. And I, for one, never thought of being president of my junior league. Never thought about it. 2 women reached out to me and said, you need to think about it. And I was like, no, I'm not president material. And they were like, no, you are. And I applied and I became president-elect and then president of my junior league. And it was 2 of my favorite years in the league. But the idea that there are ways to recruit members, there are ways to recruit leaders, and not all of it has to do with like opening up a room and doing something. Sometimes it's just that personal touch. But how do we do that? How do we build that in a way that helps sometimes our introverts, our introverted leaders or introverted members feel like they're getting noticed and attention as well. November, I put out diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and accessibility. So you want to be a leader. Again, this goes into building that leadership pipeline. And then women's legal issues. I believe like I said, the Junior League of Puerto Rico is doing that at the end of November. So we've already got that on the calendar, but we do have room in November. So if you're looking at one of the topics I said earlier, or you're just looking to do maybe something DEI/BA related or in the leadership pipeline, November would be a really good month to do that. And then December, I've sent out a couple of emails on this already, but last year we left December open for mental health awareness and self-care. And I thought we had a couple of really great trainings that month. They were well attended. And what was great about that was we weren't giving women we were giving them content, but we weren't giving them Junior League content. We were giving them ways which you can get through this busy month, this hard month for many people, this just the holidays, and how to take care of yourself, how to take care of your mental health. This just seemed like a right place to put it. So if you have a speaker in your league who has this skill set and you want to put something like this on the calendar, December is where we're going to do that. January, February, March, April, and May. I have advocacy for all of these. It should be in May as well. We are going to make January through May where our advocacy track is going to live. We're going to do all kinds of advocacy trainings in those 5 months. Not only advocacy, but advocacy is really going to January, February, March, April, May is where we're going to put those and where they're going to live. Part of that is in January. January is Human Trafficking Awareness Month. We are going to have a training in January on specifically on that. If your league has that as an issue that your league handles and that your league addresses, get something on there for January. Do something in that. This is a nice month to kind of put that out there and do this and raise awareness. It's right before February, right before the Super Bowl, which I think is one of the most heavily human trafficked events in the world at any time. So this is a really nice time to raise awareness and start conversations that we can carry into the spring. We want to do the Leadership Book Club again. I have a couple of book options that are open. I'm talking right now with the Junior League of Champlain Valley about potentially doing this one in January, but we have other opportunities for that. We don't want to read too many books because I think we'll get women who just can't do all the books, but we're thinking about 3 of them in this year. February, DEIB, storytelling, advocacy. March, again, advocacy. Maybe doing a diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, accessibility book club that month. Last year in February, we read The Warmth of Other Suns, and it's an amazing book. We had a fantastic discussion group about it, and so we'd like to keep that going and do something else. April, I've got transitions. I've also got transitions in May as well. And these can be league transitions, but these can also be, how do you transition from one job to another job? How do you transition from one city to another city? April and May is about transitions in our leagues, but it's also about transitions across the board. So feel free to think outside the box on that. I'm going to check chat before I move to the next slide. Okay. All right, we're almost done here. I'm going to land the plane. Speaker or panel? This is always kind of the question. So it's really kind of training specific. What are you trying to convey? And do you have one speaker who's an expert? That's the question. So if you have someone who's going to come talk about self-care or social media, she might have like a whole deck of how to do this, and she's the one person you want to talk to. If, however, you're doing something on advocacy and you're doing what the Junior League of Savannah did last year, they had an advocacy panel where they brought in 3 leaders of groups, nonprofit groups within and government groups within the Savannah area. And they had them on a panel with a moderator, and they did it in person for Savannah, but they broadcast it out to the training collaborative. And it was a fantastic panel because each person had their own comments about each question. Like they had their own specific, hey, this is what we run into being a not-for-profit food bank, as opposed to an advocate for a government for a specific part of the government in Savannah, local government, versus someone over here who's with the League of Women Voters. So we had like different speakers that all had kind of different perspectives. And that's when a panel works. If you're looking for like different perspectives, a way to kind of like the one we did 2 years ago on women who had taken their junior league skills and created nonprofits, we were able to talk to 3 different women who had kind of taken their junior league skills and taken them to the next level, and how they did that, what hurdles they had. So it made for a very effective panel. One of those speakers, while I think it would have been a good training, I think it wouldn't have been that training wouldn't have been right, which is one speaker. We need to kind of have a panel for that. Look for speakers in your junior league already, and look for opportunities to grow your membership by asking members to recommend speakers. For example, in our league, we have one of our members works for Goldman Sachs, and she told me once, she said, if I didn't know what I know about the finance, if I didn't do this job for a living, I wouldn't know anything about finance. So if you want to do something about finance, that would be amazing. And I have probably 18 speakers I could recommend for you. And that's great, because now I have a go-to to say, hey, we want to do something on finance. Can you recommend a good kind of broad-based speaker who isn't going to come in and just like really, really, really drill down, but give us more of a 30,000 foot? She's a person I'm going to go to for that. So potentially you could run up against someone who would like to be a member of your junior league by just connecting through a current member. And then day and time. So look at your league's calendar before you start to put it. Look at the training collaborative calendar before you start to put a date together. Are there a lot of meetings in a week, or is there just like a really open week where everybody's kind of not doing much, and it would be great to get everyone at that training? Do you want to do a weekday or a weekend? And this is always kind of some people are going to join you on a weekday. Some people would rather have the weekend. I think in this case, you really need to leave it up to your speaker, and you also need to look at the way that your league traditionally works. Like, is your league a league that says, we're not doing anything on the weekends because the weekends are when we spend time with our families and our friends and ourselves? We do all our junior league business during the week. Or is there a little bit more, we do things all days? Do you want to do day or night? Again, I think there's a real opportunity to do like a lunch and learn where women join in, especially if it's virtual. They can just take lunch at work or at home, and they can just jump on a Zoom for an hour, and they're doing something in their day to kind of break up their day. That's really nice. Sometimes when you get to night, women are like, you know what, I'm tired. I want to have dinner. I want to go to bed. I want to watch my stories, and I want to not do junior league. So I don't think there's any wrong answer to that, but I think that you at least need to kind of think it through as to how you're going to try to present it. And then do you want to do it in person, hybrid, or virtual? So if you're doing it for the collaborative, it's got to have a virtual component to it, but it can be hybrid. So what we've been recommending is, if you want to do something in your own league in person and then broadcast it out to collaborative, that's great. If you want to have a watch party where you have women in your league come to your headquarters or somewhere else and then watch the training together, also great. There's all kinds of ways to structure this that work for your league and for the collaborative. So now, what are we going to be talking about in August? We're going to be talking about the really logistics and how to get it out there into the world. So we're going to talk about logistics, Slack and Canva. We're going to talk about promoting your training opportunities and the collaborative. We're going to talk about using social media, RSVP best practices, and we're going to talk about the training opportunity attendee survey. But I am going to jump out of this and I'm going to go into, I'm going to move this down and I'm going to show you what the survey looks like that we send out. So, leading a team, this is a good one. So we do the same survey. So it looks like this. We have the same statement here. Thank you for attending me. And then I just fill in the training opportunity. Put on or hosted by the Junior League of this case, it was Palo Alto Mid Peninsula. So we ask them for their email, their Junior League. Would you recommend this to a friend or another Junior League member? If the answer was no, please tell us why. Did you enjoy this training opportunity? Is there one thing we can do to improve it? Is there a topic you would like to see added? And what competency or competencies do you most want to work on? And then we put a copy of the library here that they can click on. And I think that really helped kind of define what women wanted to work on. And is there anything else you would like us to know about your experience? And so by doing this, we add those questions on every survey. So now we can look at data across the 2 years and say, how are we doing? And if you want to add a couple of questions onto the end specific to this training, we could absolutely do that. So I am going to stop the share. All right. So Simone, I love that. If you have a past president who did that, maybe one thing you could potentially think about doing is send me an email if you want to do this as part of your league's collaborative training on how to turn your skills into a nonprofit, or how do you do that? Because I can show you the materials that we used for the one 2 Decembers ago, and you can kind of use that as a springboard to plan your own. Are there any questions or any comments that you want to bring up before we close? And then Simone, I am going to send you the link for the book club. I will get that to you. Yes, Kate, I will send you the slides. I'll send out the slides on Monday with a recording so everyone has that. And thank you, Erin. I appreciate it. Okay. Thank you guys for joining tonight. If you have any questions, you can follow up with me. I'm going to drop my email, although I think you all have it. I'm going to drop it into the chat. And if you want to follow up with me after this or ask me some questions, feel free. I check my email every day. And you can also reach out to me in Slack. I think a lot of you probably have been invited to Slack. If you haven't, send me an email and I will link you into Slack as well. And have a good night and take care. And I will talk to you all soon.